Hi, and welcome to another episode of You Haven't Seen What?
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 A married couple's quest to rectify the wrongs of their partner never seeing culturally relevant movies. Really? The snarkiness already? We just fucking started.
No, that was shame. That was me going, for the ones I've never seen.
Yes. Although today, hi, I'm Joelle, and that's Parry.
Hi, I'm Parry.
Yeah, and today I haven't seen this movie, and Parry showed it to me.
I'm not surprised you hadn't seen this movie because many people have not seen this movie, despite it being pseudo-remade recently with the roles reversed. But we can get to that later. That's production notes.
With Parry. Later.
But before we get into the movie,
Oh, God. Here we go, folks. Fucking buckle in already. Go ahead. Wow, dude, we're like 2 minutes into it and you're already ranting. This is scary. Go ahead.
No.
Give out shout outs to the world. Here we go. Shout outs to the world, everyone.
No shout outs this time.
What?
I have two things that...
Liar.
Only two.
Okay.
I'm not even drinking orange juice / beer this time to annoy you. So, I'm trying very hard to keep on your good side, but you're not going to like my second thing. But first thing...
Please note that, folks. Please note that, okay?
As I was listening back to our High Fidelity episode, and I realized...
You listen to this shit?
Yeah, well...
I'm just kidding. I do too.
Because I'm an egotist. No, I actually... I will sometimes start to listen... Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. You married me. I will...
I know. What does that say about me, folks? Go ahead.
You didn't know this already? I will listen for sound quality and stuff, and I'll sometimes find myself listening further. But what I realized with High Fidelity was that I totally left out a super important album for me.
Yes.
Which was Superfly. Curtis Mayfield. I completely
yes, you
left
did.
it off.
You love Curtis. You love yourself some damn Curtis.
Absolutely.
I think you wanted to marry John Legend when we saw him perform Superfly.
Oh, it was a brilliant moment at John Legend. He was in charge of the soundtrack for his daughter's birth. And so, of course, Chrissy, she's got one job, and John's job was to play the music. And so as his daughter was being born, Superfly was playing. And so at his last show, he did an amazing performance, an amazing version of Superfly. Very true to the original with just a touch of his own style. But it was truly very close to the original. And I was fucking blown away.
Yeah, pretty much the 6'2" white man in the what row were we in? Like third row, wanted to like break down crying. He was so excited.
I was gonna rush the stage, just
pretty much. So John Legend, watch the fuck out if you see us coming. It's not me who's gonna bum rush you. It's going to be my husband.
Had I known when we were sitting there listening to him talk about wine at the special event at the beginning where we were like 5 feet away from him, had I known, I would have had to just be like, Superfly! And yell it out a few times.
You have no fucking cool. You have zero amounts of cool. Honey.
No, I would have gone up and, just
no.
whispered it close.
People, no! You're such a stalker. Okay, let's get to number 2, which you know I'm going to hate.
Last week, I forgot to say something very important, which made a case for me, which was that Max Dugan says at one point...
Shut up with this plot bullshit.
He says, how do you know I'm your father? And she
You're
says,
such an
because
idiot.
you told me.
Listen... Yes, because we take it for granted that our parents are telling us that they're our parents.
And he says, you haven't liked anything I've said so far, so I thought I'd keep going until I got to something you liked. So to me, that is some proof that perhaps he's not actually her father.
No proof. Listen. It's not any proof.
Not even within the realm
Zero.
of possibility?
None.
Like if this were at a trial?
No, this was a trial, and there's no fucking reasonable doubt, okay? That is some bullshit circumstantial evidence you're throwing at me, and I say no. Judge Joelle has ruled.
Okay.
Exactly. That's right. Cur me out just like Hodgman. Thank you, Jesse, the bailiff. Moving on.
I can't do a good Jesse laugh. He has an amazing laugh.
All right. Okay, well, moving on.
Yes, moving on to this week's movie.
3 O'Clock High. Okay, do you want to give your synopsis?
What synopsis?
Shut the fuck up. Did you write one? Oh my God, he didn't write one, you asshole. It's your movie.
Yes.
I wrote one because I knew you wouldn't write one. God damn it.
I have one in my head, but I'd like to hear.
Okay.
I'd love to hear yours.
No, you go first. You go first, wordsmith. See, I always come off sounding like a crazy bitch. And when I'm looking at his sheet, which is filled with all these other notes, yet the one area that says synopsis is blank as fuck, nothing in it at all, I look and I'm like, why do we have these sheets? Just wondering. Why did I make them? Just saying. This is the glimpse into marriage. Truly. You're lucky you're responsible in other areas.
I do dishes and laundry.
You do dishes and laundry. That makes up for a lot of shit.
Because I would be in real trouble
you
for a
would
lot
be
of
in real
things.
Fucking trouble otherwise. But okay, so your synopsis first, and then we'll go to my very brief one-liner.
All right. Jerry Mitchell is having one of those days. Buddy Revell is always having a bad day. He wants Jerry to fight him at 3 o'clock, and Jerry will do anything to get out of it.
Oh my God, I'm so impressed with you. That was pretty fucking short. Wow.
That's because I damn near have this movie memorized.
Yeah, you kind of do.
Yeah.
You kind of do.
This was what was known in my family as a pizza movie. That's because...
A pizza movie?
Yep.
I don't think I've heard that terminology from you before.
Well, I think I mentioned pizza, which of course is Little Caesars. And back in the...
Yeah, we're not getting paid for that.
No.
What the fuck?
Every time I say a brand, they're not going to just send me a check for that?
No, they're not sending us a real big check for that.
Do they even say pizza anymore?
I don't know, but now you've just... Yeah, here we go.
Well, back in the 80s, when we first got a VCR, my mother...
No beta?
No, we did not have a Betamax.
We didn't either. My dad didn't subscribe to my need for beta.
I still have some beta tapes somewhere, and I've never been able to play them.
You have beta. This is who I'm living with. I'm living with the fucking hoarder.
It's an MTV Video to Go beta tape.
What does that mean to me?
It means the box is really cool.
Literally... Oh my God. That's a story of our lives. I really should go ahead and screenshot some of those vinyls that we literally have just for the cover.
Hell yeah.
Okay, back on track. Oh, ADD one.
So my mother would either take us to the video store to rent a movie, or she would pick one out and she would come home with it. And the Little Caesars was right next door to the grocery store. And so she would get the pizza and she would get a movie because this is when grocery stores had a video section, and she would bring them home. And she would try and pick out something that she thought that, we would like, and something that was not offensive in some way by mistake, which she was very good at. She never brought home anything she regretted. And this was one of them.
She ever bring home Dirty Dancing?
No, but...
Because now I regret that shit.
I will not... Oh, I don't want to say it. I have to say it.
No! Sorry, everyone's ears and everyone driving. He was about to say Overload, and you can go fuck yourself with that bullshit. Listen to our Dirty Dancing episode for more on Overload and how he decided that was the best song in the whole fucking movie.
Yes, and if you don't want to...
I'm cursing a lot today, I'm sorry.
And if you don't want to hear a short political rant from me at the end of that, you can just skip the last, 10 minutes of that podcast. But... So, anyway.
Donald Trump is our president. The whole goddamn country is in a short political rant, no matter what side you're on. So, really, it's not.
John Cusack would agree.
The whole country. Sorry. We're really not political. At some point, we're actually going to talk about a movie. Here we go. Pizza night.
So, this was a pizza movie that she brought home, and I remember loving it from the opening montage. From really the opening shot where the camera starts out above our main character of Jerry Mitchell and it curves around to the side. And that moment, it had me.
But it is because you are a film geek and the cinematographer is pretty freaking outstanding.
Yes.
And the director and what they were going for and what they were influenced by.
Yeah.
So.
And what these... what the style of this influenced afterwards, too. But yes, and so I was very influenced by this. I loved the opening song. I loved the editing of that opening scene. In fact, it was it inspired a lot of my own work afterwards, and that song has been stuck in my head since the mid-'80s.
Something to remember
80s,
me by?
I don't know why. It's just been, maybe because it's attached to that editing, it has been stuck in my mind ever since. It just pops in every so often for my entire life since then.
Okay, well, that's a lot of everything that we normally wrap up with.
Maybe,
Awesome.
Maybe it's because I feel like Jerry Mitchell a lot of the time.
You were part of the school store? Somebody wanted to beat you up? You're pretty fucking tall. I refuse to believe that people wanted to beat you up.
It wasn't they wanted to beat me up. It's that Jerry Mitchell, he always just seems friendly and okay until someone finally pisses him off to the nth degree and he loses his shit and beats the crap out of somebody. And that I've never actually beat the crap out of somebody, but I have lost my shit.
Yeah. So my husband nickname, if you don't know, I call him Dr. David Banner, and sometimes I call him the Hulk. Because he truly is Dr. David Banner the entire day until something happens, and then he like hulks out. At that point, you need to try to calm the Hulk down, which is not really easy to do. It's a lot of cheese required, literally cheese required, and a lot of like AC and water, and it's gonna be okay.
Do you know what my secret is? I'm always angry.
Is that rain?
That is rain.
God damn it. Well, we're going to have rain on this podcast.
Yeah,
just is what's going to happen.
We'll have rain in the background, but wow, these mics are better than I thought.
Yeah, they are better. Oh, those are the ones that I bought.
Yeah.
Okay. Although, thank you for the new stands.
You're welcome.
They're pretty legit.
Yeah, I know. I've rearranged them so we don't whack them this time. So you
Yeah.
won't hear too much clanging on this one.
No clanging.
Max Dugan has a little clanging.
Do you want to hear my synopsis, though?
I would like to.
Sure, because it's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words.
So long.
Don't touch Buddy Revell, or else. And we're done with the synopsis.
That's good. That's good.
Right?
I like it. Yeah,
Short.
that's it's even shorter than mine, which was shocking because usually
It's not. It's really. Is that really shocking to you? I'm pretty fucking concise. For a PhD student, I'm pretty concise.
always.
Yep. Favorite quote from the movie?
Well, there are a lot of great lines in this movie, a lot of fun dialogue.
This is a code for. I've picked several.
Well, the obvious one would be, you sneak home, I'll be under your bed. You and me, 3 o'clock. But
Really, Buddy Revell?
But actually, I think the one that it's going to have to be is...
No. Wait till you hear mine. Go ahead.
Oh, come on, man. Pain is temporary. Film is forever.
No, when they want to film him, like, going through the agony of the whole thing.
It's like the first reality show. These guys were the originators of reality television that they want to film
First of all,
his whole
this came
process.
out in 87.
Yes.
Oh, no, it would have been.
That's what I'm saying, is I think these guys inspired reality TV.
People were filming shit long before this shit.
Well, they were, but the way that they go about it and the way they're so freaking obnoxious about it, they're like reality TV people.
Producers.
Oh, I didn't want to say producers because I know a producer in reality TV and it's someone I like, so I don't want to say that they're all like that.
No, I'm sure they have to be a little pushy. I don't think you would take offense to that.
No.
I don't think you would say that sometimes you got to get the story. A lot of liquor's involved too. I'm sure, and everything. So mine was
Angel
different.
Dust?
What?
Nothing.
It's all the 70s. Angel dust. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. If you said fentanyl, maybe we could have a conversation. Oh, no. We're not prescribing that anybody do this. Let's just...
I think it's because they mentioned Angel Dust in Trading Places, and I was just watching it the other day. So.
Dan Aykroyd was mentioning Angel Dust.
That's right.
Yeah, that's why. So outdated.
It wasn't heroin, it was Angel Dust.
Get the fuck out of here. Great. We're ADDing all over the place today. Badly. So sorry that you have to come on this journey with us. I mean, you could technically change the channel, but we're going to get there eventually.
And we just lost half our audience.
No, we didn't. Stop it. My favorite quote was from actually Jerry Mitchell, which is played by Casey Zamasco. We should say that.
Who I love. He's underrated and has been in so many different things that people just don't realize who he is, but I think he's fantastic. And this was the movie that made me realize it. I have adored his work ever since this.
All right. So here's what he says. Today's been about the worst day of my life, and I don't think that quote unquote bonding on a display table will help much. Just saying. That is the line. That is the line.
It's too long for iTunes.
No, it's not. Whoa.
Yeah.
Hey. Thunder and lightning. Hey, welcome to South Florida in the summer.
Yeah, that didn't like that.
Hurricane season. What's up?
Didn't like that I disagreed with you.
Exactly. That was God striking you down.
Thou shalt not disagree with thine wife.
Thou shalt not disagree with the Joe.
Yes.
Anyway, so that's mine. I think that scene where Franny is trying to convince Jerry to have sex in the school supply room to make him feel better is about pretty. It actually shares a lot in such a small scene, or you think is a small scene. Basically, it's sort of like, "Hey, I've liked you forever." It's kind of that some kind of wonderful moment, right?
She even has that haircut.
She does have that haircut. I'm sure it was released about the same time, as a matter of fact. So she has that some kind of wonderful moment mixed in with Can't Buy Me Love, mixed in with, I don't know. It's like this film is almost like a culmination of all those teen movies that you sort of saw in the 80s. Like take John Hughes and then mash it up with like some really dark, crazy cinematography, and this is what you have. I think that's really what 3 O'Clock High is that you think it's just going to be a very light, fluffy popcorn flick, but it's really not. And the cinematography, I think, and the direction is what makes it that way.
And it's based on a Western model in that, they're going to have their... There you go, exactly. They're going to have their shootout, at a certain time. And it actually is based directly on High Noon, which was a Western, and there's the clock features prominently in that.
The ticking.
And throughout this, you see the ticking clock as his time is ticking by till 3 o'clock, and there's all these great close-ups of the clock.
Time to doom.
Well, the movie even starts with a ticking clock.
Yes.
And what it made me think of was Back to the Future, because this was 2 years after this came out, and Casey's the Mascot was
in
actually
Back to the Future,
and we'll
which
get
was
to that
directed by
production
Steven Spielberg. Production notes.
Yes.
See,
there's
I did
a lot
research
of good production
too.
notes on.
I know. Maybe we should get past the first page.
Well, first, I think because most people may have not seen this, a brief explanation of everything that's going on. We've already done the synopsis, but
are you actually going to do brief?
Just a quickie, yes.
I'm timing you.
Okay. So basically, Jerry Mitchell works for the school store and the school paper. He's asked by his best friend to do an expose of the new student, Buddy Revell. And Buddy Revell, there's all these rumors flying around about what a bad guy he is. He's not to be touched is the big thing. Jerry touches him, and he challenges him to a fight at 3 o'clock.
Jerry gets set up by his good friend to go ahead and write a piece on Buddy Revell.
Yeah, well, yes.
In the bathroom, Jerry mistakenly touches his shoulder, and then, no, it's not okay.
And then challenges him to a fight, and the rest of the movie is Jerry trying to figure out ways to get out of the fight or stop Buddy Revell. And the scene in the bathroom, it's a great scene because it's so true, those awkward moments in the bathroom. If you try to speak to anyone at the urinal, it's going to be awkward. There is no graceful way or macho way to speak to anyone at the urinal.
No one should ever speak to anyone in the bathroom.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of things going on in there, and we should just not have a conversation.
No.
It's not comfortable. It's it's not comfortable.
And it's a great scene because he's so awkward in trying to talk to Buddy, and Buddy, just the looks that he gives him, and then Jerry's like, don't worry about it, and taps him on the shoulder before washing his hands, first of all.
Of course, you germaphobe.
So Buddy Revell throws him into the urinal and keeps flushing it, and is like, now you made me mad, Jerry. Now I got to work it off, so you and me are going to fight. There's no other conversation about it. That's just it. You can't get out of this. Nothing you do can stop this fight. And the shot that they do of Jerry and Buddy at the urinals shows their height difference.
Yes.
And it is tremendous.
It is.
Now, mind you, this is the villain from Kindergarten Cop that we're talking about, playing Buddy Revell.
Richard Tyson.
Yes.
So I had a couple of interesting scenes that I know sort of struck me. I'm wondering if you have a couple that you did as well.
Yeah. I have some favorite scenes, and I have some good, bad, and ugly that are kind of like, wouldn't put that in a movie now.
Oh, sure, of course. So I think from the very beginning, what sort of struck me was that Jerry is just a little bit peculiar. So if you want to like put this next to, if you want to put 3 O'Clock High next to like a Better Off Dead, at the very beginning, like you see John Cusack getting ready, and he, to me, personifies a very typical teenage dude, right? Like he's just brushing his hair. He's basically trying to get his clothes on. He's sort of a wreck. There's a sock in the shower. It's whatever. Conversely, Jerry Mitchell is literally trying to microwave a shirt because it's not clean enough, like it's not dry enough. Like he's so concerned with how he looks before he leaves. It's just an interesting juxtaposition in terms of, do I really think men or younger men would do that? Teenage men, boys.
Well, I think what they're setting up with that is that he isn't your average teenage boy, because he has
he's like brushing his teeth while he's driving. It's like there's all these things.
Because he has a perfectly good like jersey shirt he could have worn, but he has to put on the button down and the sweater, and he runs the school store and he's on the school paper, and so it's showing that he is this very well put together kid who is slowly deconstructed as the day goes on and his sanity starts to leave him. And what's interesting is how quick the adults are to start going, you know what? You've been hiding how bad you are. You're actually not a good kid, and they're very, very quick to just overlook how great he's been throughout his whole high school career and start looking at him like maybe he really is a bad kid. And, within one or two mistakes, his perception has changed in the school.
Yeah, and another thing is at that pep rally when they're beating up the mascot and like red glitter comes out like blood. That was really weird. I mean, they never did that at my pep rallies. Just saying.
They did burn someone in effigy at, I think it was our homecoming.
What?
Yeah, we had like a field, and they had like a dummy or something out on it, and like a
No.
man.
This is not okay. We can't be burning things at the stake and shit. This is like...
Well, there was an article online I looked at, a guy named Sam Hatch on Young Sam's favorite films of all time. He had listed 3 O'Clock High, and he does mention that scene specifically because it sort of points out how the adults throughout are trying to talk about how much violence is bad and trying to stop the violence, and yet they encourage things like pep rallies where we burn people in effigy or beat their image to pieces. And so there is sort of that confusing juxtaposition, what's the word I'm looking for?
Dichotomy?
Yes. It's confusing, I think, to a young adult as to what am I... There's certain people I'm supposed to be angry at and want to destroy, but I'm not supposed to be violent. And I think that that was a really interesting point, that there is that contradiction that we experience in our lives. And
I also thought I would probably have worked at that school store.
Yes, you would have. You would have been the student store student manager.
Yep, totally.
Just like Jerry Mitchell was.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved every minute of it.
Yes, you would have, because you would have completely rearranged how the store looked and operated.
Yep.
And it would have been highly profitable.
Yep, and they should not have just been like 2 choices of pens. That's like wrong. Just saying.
Would you have demonstrated that you could write in bed like he does to the hot girl?
To Karen?
Yeah.
AKA Liza Morrow,
who is now a realtor in Florida, or realtor, as it was pointed out on what was that show, the Santa Barbara or Santa Clarita Diet?
Is she?
No, she's not on that show, but they say realtor to make sure that it's not realtor, it's a realtor.
Oh my goodness!
But she is somewhere here in Florida. I tried researching, I couldn't find her right off, so I need to.
You did not put me on that mission. You know I'm the researcher.
Well, I was in the middle of work. I had to do it when no one was looking. But I'll get back on it. Maybe we can get her to do an interview. Because she only did like 4 movies.
Yeah,
and she was on
no
a
one from your work
soap opera.
is ever watching this, listening to this ever. Awesome. Good job.
I do work 98% of the time.
You did it on your lunch break.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So are we a good, bad, and ugly?
I think we are, yeah.
I think we are. Okay, I ended well. Didn't start so well, but whatever. You're good. What is your good from this film? Try to make it fucking short. Come on. Let's get past the first page. Jesus.
That would have to be the cinematography. I love the cinematography. I love the sweeping, always in motion camera movements.
Is it Barry Sonnenfeld?
It is. It is Barry Sonnenfeld, who... in production notes, I'll talk a little bit more about all the things that he shot and directed and everything, but he did help to shape a lot of film in the 80s and 90s, and through collaboration with the Coen brothers.
Okay, you're going way off the cinematography.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, it actually affected a lot of my own work afterwards.
Okay.
So yes, that was my good.
Now you reciprocate and you ask what my good is.
What was your good?
Thank you. Snarky McSnarkerson.
Huh?
Yeah. So mine was twofold. I really felt like the pacing of the movie was really good. I think that they didn't spend too much time in one area. They really allowed for the story to play out. Sort of, it felt natural, like a natural day's progression at school or at high school. Also, I really like the brother-sister dynamic. So often we just see the brother-sister hating each other. And this one's sort of like, listen, don't die, man. Like, don't get beat up. So, Bree Mitchell, Stacey Glick, shout out to you guys, because it was sort of like, don't die. Like, let's figure this out.
She was great. And she didn't do too many other films after either. She actually got into publishing with books, I believe, not too long after this. I think it might have been... I think it was her last role, actually. But I thought she was fantastic, too. And you're right, she thinks he's weird and a bit of a doofus, but she loves him, obviously. And it is a good dynamic.
Yeah, it's a really great dynamic to see. All right, you're bad. I'm so afraid. Do you have one? Yeah, you do.
You know what? I think this is just part of a movie being dated from this era. But there's... there's too many. One is too many, but there's too many quote unquote fag jokes.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's really laden, homophobic laden.
Yeah, they make a few too many. I mean, like I said, they're all
it's
not
the
good.
80s.
So.
I don't know how this was acceptable, but it was. I think a lot of people had a lot of repressed sexuality happening at this time, and this was just the thing that sort of happened. I think the AIDS epidemic and fear of all of that too was in play. It's a lot of different things sort of coming at you at once. But yeah, it was just not okay.
And it was an easy way at the time to establish someone who was antagonistic, as they would just say, "What are you, a fag?" And it would immediately set them in a certain realm, and and the other person would get very defensive, and so it was used a lot in that manner at the time, and it's unfortunate. It doesn't age well, and I'm glad that doesn't age well. But those particular types of lines, they are an artifact of their time, but they're, I'm glad we're not using that quite as much.
Yeah, or I don't think we no, I don't think we are. No. Yeah, my same bad. So moving on. You're ugly?
Well.
Oh, I have one. Is yours the same as mine?
Mrs. Farmer?
SS?
Or Miss Farmer?
No. Mine's SS.
SS.
Go ahead. You go first.
Much as I like the scene with Miss Farmer, the way he behaves, it's a scene where, for those who haven't seen it,
it's like a Hot for Teacher scene.
Yeah, Jerry's sister tells him, like, "Hey, remember when we used to watch Gunsmoke? If someone wanted to get out of a gunfight, what did they do? Get themselves arrested." And so she's like, "You got a book report next period? Act like a jerk and get yourself detention." And so he basically becomes his character from Back to the Future, which he was one of Biff's henchmen. He was 3D, the one who was always wearing the 3D glasses. And I believe he's in all 3 of them. He's not 3D in the third one, but I don't. Have you seen the third one? I don't remember. He's in the first 2. And he basically becomes a character, grabs some sunglasses, grabs a pack of cigarettes, and actually smokes a cigarette in the classroom, and she says nothing. But he does a whole scene. His book report is on a book called Honey Goes to Hollywood. And there's a scene when he goes, it's a good read. It's
yes,
fast,
Honey Goes to Hollywood.
Angry, sexual. I was thinking about the syntax and how it affected the overall mood, especially during the more expository passages where Honey meets the whole Australian soccer team. And he's talking to the teacher, and he comes up and says, what's your favorite book? And she goes, Turn of the Screw. And he says, what a coincidence. And kisses her. And in Turn of the Screw, a student kisses the teacher or tutor. And so he kisses her, and then since he's hypoglycemic, he passes out immediately afterwards, and someone says, now that's what I call a book report. It's a funny scene. It would never happen in a movie today, especially at the end when she comes back and kisses him.
No, because there's been too many teachers kissing their students.
Yeah, because it's too close to reality. Now, apparently that last scene was added because people in test audiences all wanted to know what happened with him and Miss Farmer. And so
I think David Lee Roth, they made it awesome with the Hot for Teacher. It's just one of those things, like, you want to know what's going to happen. This is how you think of it. It's been fantasized that way.
Now, what if this had been reversed and it had been a female high school student and a male English class teacher?
This is your ugly?
I'm just saying that in retrospect,
Really?
that scene, it's a bit of sexual harassment. It's kind of an ugly scene. It's a fun scene in its own way, but it's also kind of ugly. So
the Hot for Teacher moment is your ugly?
I think because I was thinking about it, the double standard, if we reversed this, people would be disturbed heavily by a teenage female student kissing a male teacher. And so the very Lolita aspect of it.
But now it's equal for everyone. They don't see it as being good at all. Either way, either which way you slice it anymore. It's not seen as a positive thing, or it's that there's no more double standard regarding it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it again, it's not a comfortable scene to watch.
I have an uglier ugly.
Okay.
Gonna get a lot of hate mail for this one. So, if you know, Casey Siemasko was in several Steven Spielberg movies prior to this one. Back to the Future. I know what you're about to say, and you want me so not to say it, but I'm saying it. What? Back to the Future, Stand By Me. So he was sort of, a Spielberg boy a little bit. A little bit.
He was even in the pilot of Amazing Stories.
Yeah,
he's one of the crew members of the B-17 in the mission.
Yes, and who is the director of Amazing Stories?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was Steven Spielberg, but the director of several episodes. Not the episode with Siemasko, but of several of the episodes was the director of this film.
Right, Phil. Good old Phil.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. So Phil worked for Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
Spielberg was an executive producer on this film.
As well as Aaron Spelling.
And I know Aaron Spelling is still in the credits.
He had the rights to it.
Right. But Spielberg went ahead and removed himself from the credits.
Mm-hmm.
And this really rolls into production notes, however you want to slice it. But the reality is that he felt like it didn't fit with his current line of family movies. But here's the thing. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, chances are it's a duck, right? So if you have cast...
Don't ducks waddle?
Hush. So it said walk like a duck, which would mean waddle. Moving on. Oh my God. You're debating me over stupid shit. And you know I'm going to win.
Of course, captain of the debate team.
Hush.
Student manager.
Listen. So my thing with this is that, listen, Spielberg, you put these folks together and then you ask them to make this film. And whether or not they made the film to your exact liking, it's still your film. And you should still own it. So if you wanted to have a more hands-on approach, or if you wanted a specific approach, if you didn't like you wanted a Karate Kid type film, right, which is what he's quoted as being said.
Yeah, he wanted the feel of Karate Kid,
Right.
but he says that...
he got instead Goodfellas, like a Scorsese film.
Yeah, or
right.
the Warriors or something
Exactly.
like that. Yeah, that its tone was not what he was looking for.
But guess what? Then you go ahead and you are more involved. That is the theory. Here's the thing with anything, right? Because this was Phil's like really big film feature debut,
Yeah,
sort of.
He was 25 years old.
Exactly. He was younger than Casey Zamasco, actually.
Yeah.
Right?
Than either of the big stars, than Tyson or Zamasco.
Exactly. Yeah. So here's the thing. If you want something a very specific way, then you take a more hands-on approach. Afterwards, if you haven't taken on said hands-on approach, and afterwards somebody has given something to you to which you don't 110% agree with, and take your name off, I just find that to be shady as fuck. I don't care. I can get the hate mail. It's fine. I'm not trying to piss off Spielberg. I'm just trying to say, like, own it. Own however you want it. But had your name been on that movie, I don't think it would have done as poorly in the box office. I think we would have all known it. We would all have seen it for something else. And we would have looked at it as something more. But instead, you burnt down those bridges. And you pretty much burnt down a couple of the actors in the process, right? Because this was a flop at the box office. And while it's become a cult movie later on, it definitely does not have the notoriety if you had your name on it.
And I do have to... No, I agree. I'm not disagreeing.
That's my ugly. I hate that shit. I think we call that out across the board. That not giving credit where credit is due, not backing your film 110% when you have greenlighted it, that shit is a coward-ass move, and no one will tell you that it is. But it is. And I said it, and I don't give a damn. I'm going to hate mail. We're never going to get picked up by anyone because I'm saying this shit. But I feel like that's the authenticity of it. Yeah. That's my ugly.
You know, Spielberg's personal echelon system just flagged that he was mentioned with some
Spielberg.
I think the NSA works for Spielberg.
Maybe. So. Listen.
They have just called you out.
Here's the thing is that what's so sad is that this is actually a brilliant film. It is giving you something that you would not get in any other teenage movies.
It's a great twist on it.
It is a completely different twist on it. It has inspired, I'm sure, different filmmakers to take a look at things in a very different way. And we are actually leaning more toward dark side, I would say, just in cinematography and film and TV. We're leaning to looking at the darker side of things. I mean, this is almost like a precursor to what Breaking Bad looks like, right? It's just different. So my point is that had you put your name on it, had you stamped it, it would have done better. And who knows what pivotal role you could have played in it. And I think that missed opportunity is what is so ugly for everybody, is so ugly.
What I need to put out there is that someone associated with this film actually told us this story and asked us not to talk about it because they actually said that, you know, they really thought...
Oh, but it's out there. It's on IMDb. It's everywhere. Sorry I killed your vibe.
No, it's okay. You're just doing what I usually do. So
how does it feel to treat me like you do?
Well, yeah, is basically they said, hey, you know what? This director was really great. He did a really great job, and he was a really great kid. You know, at the time he was a kid, and I felt like what happened to him was wrong. But you know, I don't want to bring this up because I don't know all the facts, and so this is on IMDb. I don't know the details either, but I think that, you know, it's probably the truth, and it sounds like it. And so
it's the truth.
The reason I think it's okay to mention is because, yeah, we should call out when a wrong is a wrong. And I do think that this was wrong, but I do respect that people associated with the film liked it enough and liked the director enough. Phil, I want to say it right.
João, I'm going to say it wrong. Joano.
Phil Joano They really liked working with him and liked being a part of the project, and so they wanted to defend him and his reputation. And so I thought that was really, it says a lot for him as a filmmaker, and for him as a filmmaker that young, getting that respect from cast and crew. So, but I do think it was important to tell, because it is out there. It didn't just come from this one individual. So,
yep, doesn't matter who you are, I'm gonna call you out.
Of course, he also directed Rattle and Hum, so he does have a name for himself out there.
So much U2
number
stuff.
of U2.
He's not hurting. He just is not hurting, which, I mean,
Directed
I'm
Tom
really,
Petty video.
I'm really glad for that. He's not hurting at all in that aspect. But I think that what's sad is that people won't see this movie in the same way that they see a ton of John Hughes movies. And I think that while John Hughes movies have a lot to offer, so does this film.
And personally, I think a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of parts of it have aged better than some of John Hughes. And I like John Hughes, but there's some stuff that's highly questionable in his films if you really are watching them not from your 16-year-old self who saw it at a sleepover. If you're watching it from your adult self, like you're going to show this to your kids, and you listen to some of the things they say, it's like, ooh, yeah, maybe not. Or the donger with the little gong every time.
Really? You don't have to explain them. They can figure it out.
That's probably the first one that comes to everyone's mind, just a little gong.
Stop it. Production notes with Parry. Hey, segueing. I think we pretty much spoke about a lot of people. Cinematography. It's distributed by Universal. Release date was October 9th, 1987. Running times 101 minutes. The budget was $5 million. Box office came in at 3.6. See what I'm saying about having a big name behind you? Looking at you, Aaron Spelling and Steven Spielberg. IMDb rates it as a 7.2 and a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. So a lot of users like it.
Well, like I said, I've really loved this film since I was a kid, and there's so much technical prowess in this, and a lot of that is due to Barry Sonnenfeld's work. The camera, from the very, very beginning, as I was saying, all the way through, the way the camera moves and swirls around is I don't know if it's groundbreaking, but it's like the camera is free-floating at times. Like, it doesn't appear attached to a crane or dolly tracks. It just is in motion so much. And Sonnenfeld, if you don't know him, just go look him up, and you'll see he worked on several Coen Brothers films: Blood Simple, Raising Arizona, Miller's Crossing, and then he's directed Addams Family Values, Men in Black 1 and 2 and 3, I believe, even. And so
he's got a dark streak like you.
He definitely has that dark streak. He's got a very Burton kind of streak. Like, you could really cross a lot of his work over with Tim Burton. I like his dark streak, but I just love the way his camera lives. It's very frenetic. It's just very almost frantic at times, and it really helps to build a mood. And like I said, it actually connected it closely with High Noon, in that counting down and all the scenes of the clock. And High Noon is about, a character who is looking for help as he knows that these bandits are coming to get their revenge at a certain time when the train arrives. And it's the same thing. As Jerry's day goes on, he is trying to enlist help. He tries to pay off a kid, one of the football players, to go and beat up Buddy, but Buddy knocks the guy out immediately. And that scene must have taken forever to set up, where he punches the kid and he falls into a bookcase, which falls into another bookcase and another bookcase, which is a stunt that's been done, but it goes around the entire library and knocks out every book. And it is really a well-orchestrated sequence, but I can just picture them setting this thing up for a week before shooting it. So he's looking for all these different ways out, and he finally ends up robbing the school store to give the money to Buddy. And there's a look that Buddy gives him when he does that. It's like, wow, like, I'm going to leave you alone, but I feel really bad for you that you have to resort to this, that you won't even try to fight.
No, he calls him a pussy.
He does. And I almost wonder, too, if Bob Gale was watching this, writing Back to the Future 2, and was like, we'll have Marty's trigger be chicken, and then because this guy is very Biff-like. Buddy Revell is sort of a Biff-like character, and the fact that Casey Siemaszko was in Back to the Future, and there is a Lorraine in here at one point. I think there's a lot of crossover. But I think how they build Buddy Revell's character in this is, at the beginning, in all the rumors, there's an amazing shot, coming back around to Sonnenfeld's camera work, there's an amazing shot at the beginning where you move between different groups of people, and they're all different types, from cheerleaders, of which one is Yardley Smith of Lisa Simpson fame, because you recognize her voice right away.
Instantaneously.
And it's cheerleaders and stoner kids and jocks and heavy metal kids, and it moves between them all as they're talking about things Buddy Revell has supposedly done, of which we find out as it goes on some are true, but some are just the way that legends get born and that myths get made, is that people talk and it becomes that game of telephone where it builds and builds and builds and changes and shifts. And by the end, we see that happening with Jerry. But coming back around to talking about High Noon, this actually debuted on the 35th anniversary of the release of High Noon, which is pretty cool. If you look in his room at the beginning as he's scurrying around trying to find clothes, if you look on the walls, you'll notice there's a number of hints and references on the walls. The posters that are up, there's a U2 poster, and as we know, Phil the director directed some U2
Dude,
videos.
why don't you just say Phil?
Phil, yes. There's a Huey Lewis poster, which references Back to the Future. There's
another Spielberg movie.
Yeah, as well. There's a James Dean poster, which is kind of who he seems to be emulating a little bit in the scene with the teacher. And there's a Don't Tread on Me flag, which is so not Jerry, but it's kind of what he becomes. And so I think that is meant as kind of a hint as to what is going to happen. His girlfriend by default, the one that he is supposed to bond with because she has a spirit guide named Ethan who tells her to do so. Probably not Ethan Hawke.
Franny.
But yes, Franny, played by
Annie Ryan.
Do you know she was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yes.
She's one of the, as they call them, Shermerites, because the town is Shermer. But I love her getting dressed at the beginning, putting on the items that have inspired her that day, and those crazy earrings with the fork, but the yin-yang, which is kind of showing the two sides of what's going on throughout the movie.
Oh, this was really 80s.
It was very 80s, but her outfit is great.
Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you earlier, too. This is how I know Steven Spielberg was in it. Did you see the notation where it talked about the insect scene? And that the theme for that insect scene was actually a song from Jaws.
It was the Going Out to Sea song from Jaws.
Exactly, yes. Which is a Spielberg reference. Just saying,
bro. Yep. There's a great little Spielberg reference in there.
Exactly.
And there's also a great little, it's not a cameo because he wasn't anybody yet, but there's a great little scene in here, not even a scene. There is a hall monitor in here, and the hall monitor is played by Paul Feig, who was the one who directed the recent reboot of Ghostbusters. He created Freaks and Geeks and a number of other things. And so he's in here as a hall monitor because he was an actor, but, is also a writer and director. But he's got a tiny little scene in here. And the pseudo-remake of this film came out in 2017 called Fist Fight.
With Ice Cube.
Yes, Ice Cube and Charlie Day. And it was about the teachers in a similar situation to Jerry and Buddy. And that they have directly said that, yes, this idea was taken from 3 O'Clock High. Actually, I want to talk about some of the actors in this.
Okay.
That there are some really just surprising people in here, like Jeffrey Tambor, who has been in 1,000,001 different things. including some of my favorites like Max Headroom and Mr. Mom. But he was recently in the show Transparent and, of course, Arrested Development. Even a voice on a Leisure Suit Larry video game. And Philip Baker Hall as the detective who comes to investigate the robbery of the school store, who has been in, Hard Eight and Boogie Nights, and he is well known as the library detective from Seinfeld. Let's see, there was, the nurse in the film, the one who, after he passes out from not eating anything, after he kisses the teacher, I knew she looked familiar, and I kept looking more closely at her until I realized that's Large Marge from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Tell him Large Marge sent ya.
Exactly. So that was pretty fun. And then, of course, there's Mitch Pileggi, who, we all know as Skinner from the X-Files, but he plays Duke, or the Duker, as he says in one part, and he is the school security who catches Jerry trying to flee campus. And
AKA spam, fake pork product.
Yes. And Jerry is trying to get off campus and makes the mistake of running from Duke, and Duke chases him down and grabs him and drags him in to see Mr. Dolinsky, Wojtek Dolinsky, who is the dean of students or the disciplinarian. And Justice at Nuremberg is the book he has on his desk, and Nazi war crimes.
Wait a minute. What movie would you correspond this to in your like of movies, or like my like of movies?
I would say that this is in the same batch as Better Off Dead and Electric Dreams and Back to the Future. I probably watched all of these about as much.
That's why you're so nerdy about it. I get it. Oh, this is why.
Yeah, because it fits in with that time period.
Because what you are not seeing is the amount of effort into his other notes that he has, and the scraps of paper everywhere on his desk. I have 4 sheets of my notes, and Parry has about 20.
Yes, because this one's important to me. I really do have a deep soft spot for this one. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, anxiety bear. I see ya. Sorry, calling you out.
Yep. Yeah. This one. Sometimes I get a little nervous talking about the ones I really like, because I really want to get across, especially for the underappreciated ones, how good it really is. Though I will put out there, much like I did for Electric Dreams, that my view of it is a bit colored by the fact that I fell in love with it in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, and have never fallen out of love with it. So
so if you're expecting your normal teenage drama, I think we've already said it's not that.
Yeah.
It's definitely has a dark like your dark soul, has a darker twist to it. It's not going to be so it's not quite popcorny. I don't know if it's a pizza movie, but it's not super popcorny. There's a little bit more going on. You're kind of like, what the fuck is happening? But not in a bad way, just in a very different way. It's sort of like seeing Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills Cop and then seeing Eddie Murphy in The Golden Child. You're kind of like, what the fuck?
Oh, we'll have to talk about the whole Golden Child's a whole nother conversation.
Yes. Golden Child is going to be next, you guys, because Perry's never seen it. It's really fucking exciting. Sorry. Anyway, so that's a whole another different story. But I think somebody can relate to that a little bit better. It's sort of like, you're like, wait, what? And because it's not what you're expecting, and then you get delivered something else, and you're kind of like, all right, I like you anyway. Like, you're in its own different category.
Are you saying I gravitate toward this one though because it's a little bit on the darker side?
I think I've said that about 10 times.
Are you saying I'm dark?
I think I've said that about a bajillion times. See, it's my first use of bajillion in this podcast.
Hey, you know what? Whether you're a king or a little street sweeper, sooner or later, you got to dance with the Reaper.
What the fuck is that from? Music Man?
Music Man?
Yes, dude. Like P stands for T and that rhymes with trouble. I don't know. Some bullshit that you always tell me. What is the line?
Capital T and that rhymes with D and that stands for death.
Yes, Dark Boy, go back into your corner now.
They're talking about the pool hall, and it's pool. It starts with the capital P, and that rhymes with T, and that stands for trouble.
Yeah.
Not Pop-O-Matic Bubble.
Your mom showed you way too many musicals.
Which is why I have had a deep aversion to musicals until when? Until recently. And what happened?
You love them and you're going back to them now.
Yes. Which musical did I actually request to see that I said I would love to see?
Hamilton?
Yes.
I know. We're going to go see it.
Yeah. See? So I think John Hodgman may have had some influence on this. But,
for once, for fucking sake, Jesus. It's not enough that we mentioned John Hodgman in like every other episode. So if y'all have not heard us mention it, I don't know which podcast you're listening to because we pretty much mention it every episode. But now we're mentioning it twice in one episode at the beginning and at the end.
He would probably rule that I mention...
I think we need to go on Judge John Hodgman and we need to go ahead and we need to say the number of times that you mention Judge John Hodgman on your own fucking podcast is not acceptable.
What is the acceptable number?
No, there is not an acceptable number. It cannot be everyone. We are not promoting for him. He is not paying us.
I'm buzz marketing for him.
He is not paying us. Max Fun isn't paying us. Let's go ahead and put that out. Max Fun, maybe Max Fun. I'm saying Max Fun 10 billion times, so maybe it'll come up in their Google search
in their echelon
and then they
system.
can know like they're not paying us, but maybe they should be paying us for the amount of advertising that we're doing for them now.
I think he would consider it pandering.
Yes, all the time you pander. God, I thought when we saw him live it would be enough, but it apparently wasn't.
Not quite, no.
Okay, so we're at soundtrack smashes and we're done with production notes, right?
Sure.
Yeah, we're done.
Okay. Pledgy. Oh, one little quick note.
Oh, Lord.
Is that apparently when Buddy Revell, Tyson, what is it? Richard Tyson went to go punch him in one scene. He didn't pull his punch fast enough and actually clocked him in the face. And Pileggi fell down on the ground and played along. And Richard Tyson said, I hit him. I hit him and totally ruined the shot.
So how about those brass knuckles are not school appropriate?
Oh, but didn't we all want brass knuckles in high school?
No, I didn't. There's no reason. That's just like begging for trouble. Do you not understand? It's begging for trouble. Soundtrack smashes, hey, because we're not trying to make this an hour and a half.
Are you going to go first, or are you asking me?
So the soundtrack, most of it was actually written by Tangerine Dream.
Yes.
It is their 9th soundtrack album and their 32nd overall. So yeah, they're prolific. I don't love it a ton. Hold on. So FYI though, if you do have their vinyl or CD, you want to hang on to it. CD is actually worth a little bit more than the vinyl currently. CD is standing at about $45. Vinyl's going anywhere from 30 to 45.
I have the vinyl.
And then the one actual theme song is You Do in storage.
Yeah.
Really?
I think I bought it for like $10.
They're all melted now.
No.
So I'm just letting you know. So the main theme song, Something to Remember Me By, is actually by Jim Walker, who does not get enough credit. In fact, we're gonna link the theme song on our website, and in fact, that YouTube actually lists Tangerine Dream, and it's not true. It's really Jim Walker. We list it as Jim Walker.
And as I said earlier, I have not gotten that song out of my head since I saw this movie. It just reappears every so often. I cannot make it stop. It is going to be with me my whole life.
So what we've learned from this is 14-year-old Parry was very impressionable. This is what we're learning throughout this entire podcast. 14-year-old Parry, you just want to put him in your little pocket protector.
In the pocket, the pen's in my pocket, the Parry in my pocket. I must protect him.
Pretty much. I'm going to put you in my little pocket protector and call you George.
What is the Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder? I've got some poison I've got a Parry in my pocket.
Got a little poison in my pocket. Gosh, yeah. Welcome to the ADD show. Jeez. ADHD. Well, Parry really has it, so that's truthful.
I even took my meds, and look what happened.
Oh, yeah. I just think that you're making me crazier as we're married longer. So I would say, why show me this movie? But I think you sort of explained it. Maybe.
Yes, because I think it is, as you stated, it is a nice departure from your.
I didn't say it was a nice departure. I just said it was different.
Then I'll say it's a nice departure from the more standard style of 80s teen high school movie. I think it steps a little outside of that. And I think it is relatable for so many because we have all dealt with a bully at one time or another. And maybe they didn't challenge us to a fight, but they all made us feel small. Although it is unfortunately, a very different challenge that youth face in high schools today, because Buddy Revell may have brass knuckles, but he doesn't have anything like automatic weaponry. And that's much more what kids are worried about these days in terms of what might happen at a school. And it might have been Jerry who was coming back armed. You just don't know. And it's a very...
you really like take leaps and bounds, and you just like...
I've worked with youth a lot, so I'm just saying that
that's like the hugest leap ever.
They're worried about a lot of different things. The same
Agreed.
basic...
I'm not trivializing it at all.
The same basic themes, but it's very different. I also, in that end scene when everyone gathers around to watch the fight, no one's got a cell phone filming the fight to put it on YouTube, or they're not Facebook Living it or anything. And so that, of course, is what would happen in a fight today. It would be immediately broadcast out to the world and, would make a hero of Jerry Mitchell, because I have to admit my young nerdy self thought it was pretty awesome when he punched out Buddy Revell.
Thanks for giving away the ending.
You're welcome, everyone.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's my husband.
He fights dirty, but, when you're outmatched, that's all you can do.
I know. You show me your dirty fight move. Ever in doubt. Parry does not fight clean, folks.
Well, I stole that from Karate Kid 2 with the dropping of the wallet and the punch in the crotch. Mine's sunglasses, but, that's my go-to move that I'm ready for if anyone ever, starts something is, drop the sunglasses, go to pick them up, and... Well,
I don't know. You Hulk out and you just see red. So I don't even know if you'll be able to be cognizant enough to do that. I mean, when that dude you thought was going to run me over, you pretty much just came out like, what are you doing?
Well, he was in a car, so I couldn't do the sunglass trick.
I know, but you were pretty much, I don't know. I was like, oh no, it's going to be fine. He didn't run into me. Was it going to be fine for the dude?
No. I did almost jump on the hood of his car, but
I know you did. I saw you. Like, oh, that's my husband.
Well, that's my wife.
I know. That's why I put up with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There is a great scene that gave me just a little more insight into Buddy, though, because Buddy, you have to look at it like, is he being abused? He seems like a very disturbed child. And I'm wondering if he's got an abusive household, if he's been neglected. Like, what is his psychology? What has made Buddy Revell is what I kept thinking about.
That he doesn't want to be touched?
That he doesn't want to be touched, that he doesn't want people knowing anything about him or talking to him, because all these rumors have built over time. And in the end, when he comes back and brings the money back to Jerry, which would never fucking happen, but he does it and he smiles a little bit, and it's such an 80s movie moment. But I almost wondered if it was kind of like finally the curse is broken. Like all the rumors about me can end. I'm no longer considered a badass. I got my ass whipped. I'm totally okay with this.
Said no bully ever.
Right.
Sorry.
But he does when Jerry punches him the first time, he gets this look on his face where he looks around nervously like, oh shit, he got a good hit in on me. I don't even know if I want to keep fighting, but I got to save face. I've got to keep up my image. But then he, like I said, he seems almost relieved at the end to me to no longer, maybe it was a curse. And he's broken a mystical curse upon him.
No, it's a David and Goliath situation. That's just how that rolls. I mean, it is your everyday standard David and Goliath situation. And I just think it does it in a super dark way. That's it.
Yeah.
Or a high school in Utah is the background.
Yeah, it's where it was filmed, was in Utah. I thought it was Albuquerque when I saw the mountains. I was like, hey, it kind of looks... No, it's not the
Utah.
same. Utah.
Ogden High School, actually. Mm-hmm. Shout out. And I think we're ready to wrap up.
Well, I guess my big question in the end is, Jerry is so straight-laced.
Don't say some shit that's esoteric like last time.
No, I'm not going to say maybe Jerry's dead and this is all a dream
Thank
and
God.
his final minutes of life. But
okay, great. Only on my movies. Fuck you.
As he's dying from being killed by Buddy Revell.
You've reduced me to cursing. Screw off.
My question is, he is found certain parts of himself throughout this film that he didn't know existed. And so is it for the better that he's had to go through this? Or the fact that he has sort of ruined his reputation with the authority figures at the school, but he's won the reputation of the students? What is this a good thing or a bad thing or a little bit of both? Do we think that the result of what happened in this is good for Jerry?
Are you really fucking asking that question? It's like, this goes back to like Blade Runner. Like, is he a replicant? Of course it's better for fucking Jerry. God damn it. Seriously? Of course it's better for Jerry that he fought Buddy Revell and won. Like, come on, he has so much cred now.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares if you have cred with the faculty? The faculty's not dating you. The faculty's not having sex with you. The faculty's not your best friend. Well,
Miss Farmer might be.
Miss Farmer might be. But the faculty's not, they're not supposed to be. So the faculty's not, whatever. What are they going to do? Give you detention? Like, he's going to put back all the money. Like, he's not probably going to get press charges because it's the 80s. Like, let's be real. It's also called a film.
Yeah, I still think that the detective is coming for him.
Why do you have to, like surmise what's going to happen beyond the said film?
It's another one that it always left up that, like, one more scene that might ruin the whole thing. No,
there's not one more scene that, yes, it would have ruined the whole thing. You leave it open so that people can come to their own conclusion. And your conclusions always seem to be the most dismal one. I think a therapist is needed.
Well, jumping aside, speaking of therapy for me, I have a new segment for myself here.
No new segment. What is this new segment bullshit again?
The question is,
this did not go over well last time, and you think it's going to go over well this time? This is him gaslighting me, folks. This is exactly how this looks. He goes ahead and he knows he's going to say some shit that's going to fucking agitate the shit out of me because I have a type A personality, and he does it anyway. And I'm looking at him dead in the eyes as I'm saying this is bullshit and you're gaslighting me just like you did with number 2 earlier. This is crap.
I know we've already established
crap.
That it would have done better if Spielberg had kept his name on it.
Crap.
But do you think there were issues in how do we market this film? And so do you think the trailer...
No, that there aren't any issues.
Do you think the trailer was going to be what happens when a straight-laced kid is suddenly attacked by the school bully? Or is it going to be one of those, in a world where Jerry Mitchell is forced to defend himself and his friends?
Well, it's a dark-ass movie, so it should be number 2.
Well, let's watch the trailer real quick and find out.
His name is...
Jerry Mitchell.
Hi, Jerry.
Jerry.
Hi, I'm Jerry Mitchell.
Oh, it's on our website.
Oh, yeah, you can watch it on the website, and yeah, it was kind of somewhere in between the two. I kind of feel like it used elements of both. Like, it tried to be a little bit goofy, but it tried to be a little bit serious, so it kind of fell somewhere in the middle of that theory.
The trailer was fine. The film is fine. Everything about all of those things are fine. The thing that really did not put it over the top, honestly, was saying that it's a Spielberg movie. And I feel like by saying that, people expected shit of him. I mean, I haven't seen Ready Player One, but that shit flopped like a mug. So I'm just saying, sometimes you're like, had he had maybe more diversity, does that make sense? Like, having something diverse in your background or under your wheelhouse is not always a bad thing. Like, going rogue is never bad, I don't feel like.
Oh, I thought you were talking about, diversity, and that there doesn't seem to be any students of color at this school.
Yeah,
in the
80s, there's like no diversity. Let's just be real right now, in a lot of film.
But diversity of the style of film.
Yeah,
yes.
like having it within your wheelhouse, your production company, I don't think is a bad thing. I mean, it's like liking all the same type of music. Like, yes, people do gravitate towards some types of music, but then when you can be the person who expands their realm or their knowledge to something else, and all of a sudden their eyes open up to something else, isn't that just as equally transcendent? Isn't that just as equally valued as just giving them the same thing after the same thing, right? So we've just been fed all these teen movies, and finally this comes as a standout as one of those teen movies that don't mesh like everything else. They're not as clean cut as a Karate Kid or a John Hughes movie. Just not. And that's why it actually stands out, because it isn't that way. So I don't know. I think he missed the boat on this. I think, who knows?
You know what I think would have sold it?
What?
Tom Wilson.
Shut the fuck up. I'm wrapping up now. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of You Haven't Seen What?
More Mitch Pileggi, really.
But I'm not even going there with you. Please rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast. The more you rate and review, the more people will find us.
Yes, please.
And it would be nice if more people found us.
Yes, please.
I'm down for the referrals.
Down.
Are you down for the referrals?
Down.
All right.
So down.
We're down. Don't keep us your hidden secret. Okay? No one likes a secret. And everybody said you should tell adults. So you should. You should tell all of your adult friends.
Is it because, they don't want it to become big and then we get all bought out by corporations who make us pitch their movies and they want to keep us a little indie secret?
I'm not a sellout. So
I knew them before they were cool. I listened to them back when nobody knew.
I'm not an egomaniac like that. I'm just saying, please share the love. If you like us, share the love. We love the sharing of the love. We appreciate it so much. Also, check out our website at youhaven'tseenwhatmovie.com. We are posting the trailer. We're posting the theme song. We post links on where you can find these crazy-ass movies and sometimes the soundtracks if I can get a link that will actually give you a good one.
And apparently this one has a recent Blu-ray re-release that has
last year.
Yeah, that has some interviews with the director, and so it and some color photo archives, and so it fills it out a bit more.
Yep. Our social media, Insta, Facebook, Twitter at You Haven't Seen What Movie. And also, hey, we'd love to hear from you, whether you want to send me hate mail about the various things that I've already said. I'm open to that. Steven Spielberg, you can totally send me hate mail. I promise that I won't post it on social media, not really. But you can totally send hate mail. You can send fan mail. We're open. It's okay. I have thick skin. We can take it.
And you can send us Blu-rays of all the movies of yours that we do want to give a positive review to.
Sure. Send us anything.
Although there aren't any that I haven't seen, except Always. I haven't seen that one.
Always?
The one with Richard Dreyfuss and who's Audrey Hepburn, I think, is in it.
No,
and,
are you sure it's not? Are you talking about the Lily Tomlin Always?
No. This is the one with John Goodman, and it's a firefighter plane pilot.
Stop ADHDing on me. I'm closing the episode out. I am trying really hard. Thank you.
I've even seen Duel.
Stop. Thank you so much for listening. Pray for my husband tonight that he's not sleeping on the couch.
It's a pretty comfy couch.
So remember,
be kind.
Be nice to your wife and rewind.
Did I remember to hit record?
Bye.
Good night. Goodbye.
Good luck.
Yes. All of those wonderful things.
And now, thank you.
End scene.